How many hearts have you broken with those great big beautiful eyes? Those great big beautiful eyes that tell such beautiful lies.
How many times have you kissed somebody like you kissed me then? I don't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important message from the Prepared Mind Network.
I talked to a student recently at one of our woke college campuses who said she is required in every class to introduce herself and to give her pronouns. Well, I'm Ted Cruz, and my pronoun is kiss my ass.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. You're in the bunker with John. I got tuna fish on the one side, I got spam on the other, and I tell you what, I got a lot of anger up here for what is going on around the world, but I won't act out violently. I'll just tell people to kiss my ass. Now, we're starting to see some of the most horrific, some of the most awful intrusion into the rights of men ever. The complete pudwhacker Prime Minister of England has essentially over there ripped up the Magna Carta, which was one of the earliest rights of men documents ever recorded on paper, and forced a tyrant to sign at the edge of a sword. Now, let us continue if we shall. As you know, the British government is putting out notices all over Twitter X saying, think before you post, and letting you know that if you post or repost or like something, you can get in trouble. So an American named Rusty, Lieutenant Rusty, replied to the English as an American, and he says, I've got my license to post whatever I want, no matter what you think about. Here's what it looks like. And he posted a picture of the declaration, the unanimous declaration of these United States of America. And I think it's time that the English government heard once again that they can go fuck themselves. And the same goes for Washington, D.C. My rights do not depend on any government, not even my own, for their existence. I don't have to ask permission to exercise a right. They are pushing us so hard, so far, and so fast that they are going to find themselves in deep shit with everybody. Deep shit with everybody. I want to remind everyone of this. Twinkle Toes Tampon Timmy, the governor of Minnesota, the now vice presidential candidate with Camel Toes Harris. He did this. He ordered the police of Minnesota to assault Minnesota Americans who were on their porches. That's right. Americans sitting at their homes on their front porches. Twinkle Toes Tampon Tyrant Timmy Walz. He had the police shoot people with paintballs. That is assault. That is an act of violence. It is not deadly violence, but it is an act of violence. The same way punching someone in the nose is not deadly, but it's an act of violence. Yes, folks, during the 2020 COVID lockdown, Twinkle Toes Timmy ordered his policemen to walk up and down the streets and scream, "Get in the house," and then assault them for committing no crime, for harming nobody, for doing nothing wrong, in violation of their rights, their God-given rights, as explained in the Declaration of Independence, as explained in the United States Constitution, as explained in the Bill of Rights, as delineated and explained ad nauseum by Supreme Court after Supreme Court decision, that they do not own us, folks. And guess what? The police have allowed themselves to be conditioned through their training and government propaganda to ignore our rights, to pretend like they don't matter, and they're going to keep doing it. No doubt, get ready for more. And I'd like to tell the English government, even their royal eminences, they can all kiss my ass. Come and get me if you want me. I'm not, folks, I've had it with these fucking people. They're retarded. Now, last night, Trump had a conversation with Elon Musk on Trump's Twitter channel. It wasn't an interview. It wasn't a campaign. It wasn't a rally. It was a conversation that the public was allowed to listen to. Now, number one, it was attacked by hackers trying to stop it. That's how fearful the hackers are. It was complained about by the mainstream media, begging Joe Biden to do something about it. The left is scared shitless, folks. Now, it is trickling down to others. The United Auto Workers Union, the UAW, they have now filed charges against Trump and Musk for having a conversation that the public was allowed to listen to. That's right. They filed federal labor charges. And know what they allege? Worker intimidation. Let that fucking sink in for a second. Worker intimidation. This coming from an organization, a union that will break your legs, smash your hand with a mallet, threaten your family, beat the living shit out of you if they don't get their way. And if you dare cross a picket line, they are alleging worker intimidation because Trump and Elon Musk had a conversation that the public was allowed to hear. A violence-using organization, a union claiming that they are intimidated. What a bunch of fucking pussies. Every last one of them. The same with any union that relies on the solidarity of its workers to use collective bargaining, collectivism, communism to intimidate their bosses, the companies they work for, the people around them. Parents, teachers' unions intimidate parents and threaten them. Folks, I was driving through Tracy, California. This would be 20 years ago, plus 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And Safeway, a food store, the union that supplied them, right, transported food to stores, was having a strike in Tracy, California. And they didn't like the fact that scabs, I love how they come up with a name to make the people who want to work sound even more despicable than union workers. And I know a lot of union workers, right? I do. The Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, right? That union. There's all kinds of union, police union, state workers, prison guard union. Now there's all kinds of fucking unions. I get it. But the Safeway union, right? They deliver food. Guess what they did? They threw a fucking brick through the windshield of a truck and killed the driver. I have zero respect for any of that type of behavior, but they want to claim that they were intimidated by an old man and a goofball from South Africa. What a bunch of fucking pussies. But that's how afraid they are of them. That's how afraid they are. Folks, understand, many companies that have unions, do you realize that the owners will oftentimes just shut the business down? They'll just walk away and go, you know what, I'm not going to fucking deal with it. Kind of like that coffee shop where the workers said they were going to unionize. So the owner said, that's it. Lock the doors. No more coffee shop. Go fuck yourselves. right? Starbucks does it. You want to unionize a Starbucks? They'll shut that store down. Not that I love Starbucks, but I just don't love unions either. I get it. I understand the purpose of getting a good wage and trying to use what bargaining chips you may have. But look, this particular instance is about Trump. They're making everything about Trump. And of course, Elon Musk too. In fact, I have to give you this, folks. Kamala Harris, the campaign for Kamala Harris, the Democrat Party, which is pushing Kamala Harris, they're all throwing a complete whiny bitch of a temper tantrum because Elon Musk had a conversation with Trump. I mean, they never said it was an interview. Like, that's why I keep saying conversation, folks. Conversation. Folks, the chicken shit whore and the Democrats are scared to death. You know what they said? This is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Here, let me read to you what Kamala Harris wrote. The Harris Walz campaign. Right now, Elon Musk is interviewing Donald Trump live on Twitter. We're not calling it X. Well, I think Twitter has identified as X. So you have to call it by its proper pronoun. He didn't interview him. Elon Musk did not. It was the worst interview ever if it was an interview. It was a conversation. I will continue with the Harris Walz temper tantrum crybaby bitch letter. They wrote, it's not enough that Musk has pledged to donate millions of dollars to help re-elect Trump. He's using his purchased platform, one of the largest social media sites in the world, to spread Trump's unhinged and hateful agenda to millions of users. Free speech, folks. Free speech. If Musk wants to donate millions of dollars to Trump's campaign, he has a right to do that. Has anyone said Harris and Walz are not allowed to accept money from their campaign contributors? No. Then they want to complain. Musk has used his purchased platform. That's right. Elon Musk used his own money to purchase Twitter and then change the name to X. And yes, it is one of the, if not the largest social media site on the planet. They're complaining that Trump has a chance, an opportunity to speak with Elon Musk on a social media site that has been, lawfully obtained through purchase, and that he wants to exercise his rights. Only an idiot communist. And by the way, I believe Kamala Harris's dad was a lifelong devotee to Marxist communist thought. I wonder where she got it from. And then after that, under the part where to spread Trump's unhinged and hateful agenda to millions of users. Okay, one of Trump's agenda items is to eliminate taxes on tips. And Kamala Harris has plagiarized that, duplicated it, but she's calling Trump's agenda hateful. Well, we know that Kamala is hateful and retarded, but hateful. And what is unhinged about his agenda? Anyways, right after the hateful agenda to millions of users, if you listen to the conversation, I about fell asleep. I did. It was boring. There was nothing unhinged and hateful about it. It bored me to tears because he didn't say anything he hasn't already said. But right after that, they write, if that's all you need to hear, chip in 25 now to help Kamala and Tim have the resources to respond to their lies. Fuck. They have all of the mainstream media. They have most of the world's social media on their side, pushing their unhinged, hateful, disrespectful, unlawful, dangerous, illegal, and violent agenda. That's what they've got. Not to mention pedophile agenda. Now, they continue. You need to hear this to understand how big this fight is. And remember, the lie is different on every level. We're dealing with bottom level, basic, fundamental politics. Yes, I don't trust anybody, and I watch everyone like a hawk, including Musk and including Trump. And I'll tell you what I did here a couple of times last night, listening to Trump and Harris. A couple of times it sounded to me like Elon Musk was telling Trump, I would like to come to work for you and fix these problems with the American federal government bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. And it sounded like one time Trump almost made an offer to Musk to come and work for him, to dismantle and make both productive, and I'm also going to use the word loosely, right? We'll just go with productive bureaucracy, an unwasteful bureaucracy, a trimmed and neatly organized and efficiently operating bureaucracy, instead of the bloated, disgusting, filthy, deep state bureaucracy. Anyways, let us continue. Kamala Harris and Tampon Timmy Walz continue with their Twitter post. Otherwise, let us remind you why this is a big deal. The richest person in the world is a lackey for Team MAGA. Really? The richest person in the world? I still don't think Elon Musk is the richest person in the world. But if he is the richest person in the world, maybe they ought to listen to him. Maybe he's got something to say that will make a little bit of sense instead of listening to themselves. They continue. Musk already ruined Twitter by allowing hate speech and disinformation to flood the platform. Now Musk is using his vast fortune and broad reach to try and control our democracy. He ruined Twitter? No, he freed Twitter from unhinged, hateful, and violent left-wing woke control mechanisms that seek to silence free speech, obstruct the rights of others, and destroy our constitutional republic at every turn. We don't have a democracy. We don't have a democracy. And folks, as far as I'm concerned, hate speech, disinformation, misinformation, false information is a constitutional right that everyone has, and they may exercise it or exercise the truth, exercise the facts, have an opinion, express an opinion. I listened to a flaggity British judge sentence a child for using terminology that the courts don't like in England. People are going to jail for having an opinion now. Young, old, and everyone in between. All while, folks, well, the person who said something was, why are we giving our money to illegal immigrants in this country who are doing nothing but robbing and raping everybody? That money should go to us, the people. Statement like that makes perfect sense to me. Over there, it's a criminal offense. Fuck you, English government, and any other government thinks it can take my rights. Now, we have more statements from the Harris Walls. That's right, Camel Hoe Harris and Twinkle Toes Tampon Timmy Walz. This is their statement on Trump's interview with Elon Musk. It was not an interview. It was a conversation. There's a big difference. It was not Musk hosting it. Trump hosted it on his Twitter account. They all got played like idiots. So here it is. Here's the statement. Donald Trump's extremism and dangerous Project 2025 agenda is a feature, not a glitch of his campaign, which was on full display for those unlucky enough to listen in tonight during whatever that was on X.com. Trump's entire campaign is in service of people like Elon Musk and himself, self-obsessed rich guys who will sell out the middle class and who cannot run a live stream in the year 2024. They ran a live stream conversation in 2024. They tried to do it, but they were hacked and attacked and got through it anyways. Donald Trump's extremism. I don't think he's extreme enough. If the extremism is obeying your oath to protect and observe the Constitution of these United States, there is nothing extreme about this, except it is an extreme, a very extreme limitation on government control and authority. That's the point of this, the U.S. Constitution. And the unanimous declaration of the United States of America is a warning to all governments, especially our own. You will not take another step forward and take our rights. There will not be another lockdown. In fact, I think it's Vermont. The Supreme Court in Vermont today ruled that schools have the authority. They use the word right. Schools don't have rights. Schools are a created organism, a corporation, if you will. And they exist not by right, but by privilege with the state. States have authority. Corporations have authority, right? They don't have rights. Anyways, they have the authority to give your child a vaccination against your will and the child's will. Fucking try it. Okay, Trump's agenda, which is the Project 2025, which is not extreme enough. I think the U.S. government should supply every citizen with a full auto rifle, 2 combat loads in case of invasion by a foreign enemy or the discovery of a domestic enemy that needs to be eradicated from the face of the earth. Now, it was on full display for those unlucky enough to listen. If you don't want to listen, turn it the fuck off. Nobody made anybody listen, but 75 million Americans decided to tune in. What does that tell you? 75 million Americans were so interested in what might be discussed in their conversation that they found their way through social media to find that interview and listen. Now, I watched on a YouTube channel that was simulcasting the conversation. That person had about 8,000 live. How many other YouTubers, Rumblers, BitShooters, Facebookers all did the same thing? And rather than going to Twitter, they just watched it somewhere else by the millions. Now, when they say that Trump and Elon Musk, they being Camel Ho Harris and Tampon Pedo Walz, when they say that Trump and Elon Musk are self-obsessed rich guys, self-obsessed, sounds a little bit like what Kamala Harris is, and the Bidens, and the Clintons, and the Obamas, and the Pelosi's, and the Schumers, and every other freakazoid screwball, self-obsessed. That sounds like the LGBTQIA pedo movement. LGBTQIAP, pedophiles. They're all the same people now. They've lumped themselves together to try and give themselves some gravitas, to make themselves sound important. to make themselves look big enough that they should be taken into account and given consideration. No, fuck you. I don't owe any of you any consideration. Now, Kamala Harris. She was invited by Elon Musk. That's right. Elon Musk has now invited Kamala Harris for an interview on X Spaces. Do you think that the number 2 whore in chief, Miss Word Salad, the vice president of retardation, do you think she's going to accept the offer from Elon Musk? My answer is no. No, she won't. She won't, because she cannot speak without a teleprompter. And even with the teleprompter, she sounds completely stupid. She cannot read. She cannot think. Do you think she can sit for an interview or even a basic conversation with Elon Musk? Or do you think she would sound like a complete jackass? Well, I know what I'm putting my money on. She would sound like a complete jackass. She would contradict herself. She would make shit up. She would try and copy Trump. Who is hate-filled? Trump, who said, hey, everyone, on January 6th, no violence. Everyone go home peacefully. Or is the violent person Kamala Harris, who went on numerous media sources and promoted the idea of burning, looting, and murdering back in 2020, encouraging people to donate money so they could bail out violent felony protesters. They weren't mostly peaceful. If they got arrested, it's because they were being incredibly violent. And then she encouraged them to continue their violent ways. She wanted them released so they could continue. Who's radical? Who's unhinged? Who is hate-filled? It is Democrats, the communists, the fascists, the socialists, Antifa, BLM, etc. Folks, their policies are going to cause partisan conflict and even civil war. I watched again today. I spent some time watching what is going on around the world with these illegals. I watched in Belgium at a beach an immigrant walking along and picking up other people's property and destroying it and throwing it at them. The civilized world is civilized because they are civilized and intelligent. What cause do these fucking freaks have to assault people, intimidate people, beat people, kick? I watched another young man standing up against a wall, just standing there. He got cold cocked by an illegal, and then 2, then 3, then 4 ran up and were kicking him and kneeing him and punching him in the head, kicking him in the torso, and beating him. For what? For being white? For being a European? For being civilized? Fucking try me. Try any veteran. Try any Marine. Try any soldier. Try any sportsman. Try any American, real red-blooded American, and see how far it fucking goes. They're going to try it, folks. They're going to try it. Kamala Harris, you're invited. You're invited on the Prepared Mind channel, Kamala. Come on. Come and talk with me. Tell me how smart you are. I tell you. I'm not seeing any of these fucking cretins. Not seeing them anywhere. They're out there, though. They truly are. You can't deport them fast enough to satisfy me. Oh, I'm going to laugh the whole way. Kamala Harris used the face of a California sheriff, not a deputy, the sheriff. She used his face to try and persuade people to believe that, well, yeah, law enforcement supports camel toes, the camel hoe. And he attacked her today. Nope, wasn't me. I do not support her. I don't appreciate my face being used, et cetera, et cetera. They're liars. They're fucking cheaters, and they're going to cheat their asses off, folks. Have no doubts. That is what they're going to do. They're going to cheat their asses off. They're going to do all they can. I found a letter. It was an ex-Twitter post from a Democrat in Michigan who said, the gloves are off. I don't care. I'm going to admit it. I threw away thousands of Trump votes back in 2020. Where's the Department of Justice? Where's the Federal Election Commission? Where's the Attorney General's office? Where's the FBI? Why aren't they arresting this person? Time and time again, folks, we're catching people. They're catching them. They're convicting them and throwing them in jail for cheating. They're admitting openly they're cheating. But we're supposed to believe that Joe Biden is legitimate, that Kamala Harris is legitimate. Not a fucking chance. Kamala was not elected by the Democrat voting base. She was appointed because she is the only one who can get some of Biden's money, I guess. The whole thing is a sham. It's a fucking sham. So let's do this. Let's find out what you guys want to talk about. Let's go to the inner circle. Inner circle, and I hope you're hot. You've got ideas, thoughts. Let's hear them. And we're live on the Prepared Mind channel at thepreparedmind.club. We're here Monday through Friday live every afternoon with a few exceptions. But that's the plan. That's what we're here for. All you've got to do is go to thepreparedmind.club. Sign up for $2. Some people do $5. Some people do more. I don't know. I don't go look at all the numbers. I just know they're there. But it only costs $2, and you can be here live every day to ask questions live. So let's do it. Ooh, man. Prepared Mind moderator and also owner and web organizer of the rsyndicate.com. Name redacted steps in, and he says, the extreme calling their enemies extreme. Okay. Over on the left, way over here, you have communism. Next to communism, you have socialism and fascism. They're all authoritarian governments. They are extreme authoritarian, where the people have little or no rights. They have little or no property, little or no wealth over here. On this far end is not, well, that's right. I said fascism's over here with communism because they are full of government authoritarianism. So freedom over here, freedom exemplified, right? Constitution, freedom. They are extremely different from one another. This is extreme freedom. This is extreme human rights, constitutional rights, God-given rights, laid out to restrict the government. These types of government, authoritarian, fucked up governments, communism, socialism, fascism, etc. So yes, they are extreme at the Kamala Harris camp. I do not believe Trump is extreme. I don't believe Trump is extreme. If Kamala's over here as an authoritarian piece of shit, it is absolute projection, Mikey G. Absolute psychological projection of their faults as human beings on the left, blaming everyone else. But here is Kamala Harris, extreme authoritarianism, communist, sack of shit, lying whore. Here's the Constitution. Trump is somewhere in the middle. He's not extreme, but they're here. Here's Kamala. Here's Trump. Kamala and the Democrats are continuing to run to the side of extremism. So the more they run to their extreme version of totalitarian government hatred of individuals, yes, very extreme. But yeah, it is projection. Folks, Obama has now called Benghazi a conspiracy theory. I don't know if this is a recent thing. I just saw it on Twitter as I was looking around on X. I call it Twitter and X. I don't give a shit. I don't do it to insult them. I just do it because I do it. So I was looking around on X, and that popped up. And one of these survivors said, I tell you what, Obama, and I'm paraphrasing, why don't you get up on the roof while everyone shoots at you with AK-47s, RPGs, and they lob mortars down on top of you, killing you, if possible, and your friends, your fellow patriots, and see how much of a theory it is. Anyways, they're continuing to lie, to manufacture the bullshit. Okay, ooh, man, let us roll. I know we've got a lot to talk about today, and I've had it with these motherfuckers, folks. This First Amendment bullshit, when I heard Hillary years ago say, there are limits to the First Amendment, now they're trying to say, let's get rid of the First Amendment. So Chin Music steps up. Chin Music, he says, please read the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. For every time the word democracy appears, I will be nice to a fag for a day. You'll be nice to a flag for a day, will you? That's what I say. I'm calling him flags and flaggots because I may not be allowed to say the word without the L. I don't know if the word democracy is in here that much. I hope you read it, Chin, because you might have to go hang out with Richard Simmons. But everyone, I invite you to read the Declaration of Independence. Read it. I read it every year at the 4th of July here on the channel. But read it. Read it. The word democracy to describe our country. No. All right, Chin. I mean, you're a nice guy. Everyone knows Chin Music is a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. Patriots are nice guys. Veterans are nice guys. Members of the Army and Marine Corps infantry units are all nice guys until you piss them off and violate their rights. And then they're not going to be nice anymore. Guys like Chin Music will be nice until they don't need to be. And you'd be surprised at how nice people are until that trust, that very simple little public trust is violated. I go from seeing green to red real fast. It's not a temper. It's more like an alarm bell going off when someone is trying to fuck you out of your rights. Like the English government wanting to threaten me. Try it. Now, they can kill me. Go ahead and kill me. But you're not going to arrest me. You're not going to take my rights while I'm alive. All right, Chin Music, thank you much. Ooh, man, who's up next? Who is up next? We've got Red Arrow Tinker in the house. He says, in order for a constitutional republic to work successfully, the people being governed must also have moral, ethical standards. A constitutional republic will not work in Sodom and Gomorrah. It would not work. The Roman Empire fell because it became immoral and corrupt. When the government began to incite violence amongst its own people to keep them distracted. When the government of the Roman Empire began prosecuting its own citizenry in order to justify the theft of their wealth in order to pay for itself, it was falling and it fell. Folks, it took Rome a long time to fall. So when you look at where we're at today, I'm 54. This country has been in trouble. It's been in big trouble for a long time. You could go back to the Nixon removal of the gold standard when our money was ruined. You could go back to JFK being assassinated. You could go back to the Great Depression. You can go back to 1913 and the Federal Reserve Act. You can go back to the Act of 1871 when they destroyed our Constitution and altered it. You can go back to the Civil War and say we've been that fucked up. But ever since then, folks, moving forward, right, Morality has come under attack. Standards of excellence and ethics has been under attack. Even the academic institutions have presidents and faculty members that plagiarize others' work. They've lied, cheated, and stole their way there. They've used diversity, equity, and inclusion to demand that they have special privileges. I agree with you, Red Arrow Tinker. A country that is not moral cannot stand and operate as a republic. So where are we today? We're not quite Sodom and Gomorrah, though there's plenty of sodomites out there. Sodomites that want, of course, your kids, your grandkids. They want to normalize and justify sodomizing children, sexually molesting children, raping children. They want that just fine. These are some sick fucking people. And so, yes, our constitutional republic will not be healed until all of the flags are gone. Until then, until they're back in the closet hiding, right? We cannot have our country operating properly. It is going to suffer until then, and we will suffer with it. Thank you, Red Arrow. Man, let us continue if we shall. Diving Frog is back. He says, John, have you noticed how much more ramped up the Get Trump platform has become since the attempt on his life? This shit is out of control. They're throwing everything they can at it at full speed. Oh, I've noticed every bit, right? And I tell you, Diving Frog, CBS, that idiot blithering fool of a woman on CBS came out after the assassination attempt and criticized Trump for not standing up after having a bullet pass through his ears at 3,000 feet per second. Blood all over his face. And he described it pretty well last night in the conversation with Elon Musk. He was supposed to get up and say, okay, everybody, let's calm it down. Last time he said calm it down, they charged him with insurrection. Right? And then they said, well, political violence won't be tolerated. However, the Get Trump. Now the United Auto Workers are going to come after him. Teachers unions, fruitcakes in New York, fruitcakes around the country, prosecutors around the country that are sponsored and funded by foreign agencies, NGOs, folks, non-governmental organizations from other countries are foreign agents. George and Alex Soros, ring a bell? The World Economic Forum, ring a bell? Klaus Schmidt, ring a bell? Unfucking believable. I've noticed it. They are throwing everything at it they can. It is out of control. I'm waiting for them to just call for absolute outright violence on the streets. Once again, within a 10-foot radius, I am armed to the teeth. Try me. They want to know who needs a 30-round magazine. I do right here. I need a shit pile of them, and I've got them. Because the moment these people start running at you, you can take them down. You'd be surprised how quick a crowd will turn around, whether they're in uniform or they're a bunch of terrorists, if they are getting dropped like flies. Well, 30 rounds is 30 people. Yep. Full combat load will do it right there. Try me. Fucking try me. It's coming, folks. They are pushing for the violence. They're going to claim that if they can't stop him in the courts, if they can't stop him with social media, they're going to have to resort to violence. Folks, another assassination attempt is inbound. It is coming. They will go after Trump. They're going to. It is coming. Law enforcement better pick a side and stay on it. None of this in the middle shit. They're going to have to pick a fucking side. Wherever they're at in the country, if law enforcement, and I'm talking about sheriffs, state troopers, city police, pick a side. You side with the people and the Constitution, or you side with criminality and the criminal element and an unlawful and unjust government and their terrorist minions that they've turned loose on our country. It's right here, folks, in the Declaration of Independence. Shall I find it? In fact, fuck it. I'm finding it. Stand fast, everyone. Don't go anywhere, in other words. I am going to find the line in the Declaration of Independence. Let's see. Where the heck is it? Good golly, where to go? Page 59. Okay. Let's see. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. That's correct. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies. Sounds a little bit like us. The history of the present King of Great Britain, or we could say the history of the present United States government. Let me go down here. Stand fast, folks. You're going to love this. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny, already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages and totally unworthy of the head of a civilized nation. Does that sound like what is being done? The federal government, not only in the United States of America, but governments around the world, are bringing in foreign mercenaries. Absolute foreign mercenaries. Now, this was written back then about how the Native Americans were used to hurt the people. And instead of the term Indian savages, I'm going to insert illegal alien terrorists. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us. St. George Floyd, 2020, anyone? He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers the merciless, illegal alien terrorists whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. I think I've read enough. You get the drift. King George did it back then. Our own government is doing it now. The governments of Europe are doing it to their own people. The terrorist savages are foreign mercenaries brought into our country by our own governments, and they are being funded, paid, and allowed to go around to physically assault, sexually assault, rape, murder everybody they can. Let us continue if we shall. Oh man, I know this is a very inflammatory show, right? This is about shit hitting the fan. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, your means of self-defense, your plan. The government's not going to come to your aid. No other country on the planet is going to send food and peacekeeping forces to help us. If they sent peacekeeping forces, it'd be United Nations blue helmets who themselves are into rape, sex trafficking, drug trafficking, violence, and murder, and theft. Mr. Uban, let us continue. Who's up next? Who has something to say? And its name redacted. He said, police conditioning began with hiring only college grads, then all the returning veterans. Both groups are good at taking orders from warped lib administrators. It used to be, yeah. It used to be that the police would have to, police, sheriff's deputies, they would have to be well informed about the Constitution. Now, I know for a fact because 25, 30 years ago, the law enforcement I talked to said they didn't teach us anything about the Constitution. They told us how to get around the Constitution. They didn't teach us anything about the Bill of Rights. They taught us how to get around the Bill of Rights. They told us to not give a shit about your rights or the Constitution and to just enforce policy. In other words, take orders, follow orders, execute the orders. This book has orders of its own in it. Didn't I just read them? I'm pretty sure I did, right? I think I read the orders. What was that order? Oh, yeah. It is our right, it is our duty to throw off such government that violates our rights. We're getting there, folks. It's going to come down to, will government be lawful and constrained and live within the rules established for it? Or will we, the people, need to set things straight? Where does the bear shit in the woods? All right. Thank you, name redacted. Yeah, warped. That's a great word for it. Nothing will stop them except stopping them. Reason, results, and consensus have nothing to do with it. I don't even like consensus, name redacted. Fuck consensus. Right? Consensus is democracy. Democracy is, 5 wolves and 3 sheep deciding what is for dinner. I don't like consensus. Reason, on the other hand. Reason. It's one of those interesting things. Philosophy, very fascinating. Right? The rights of man. They're pretty important things. Right now, England, well, they don't have a United States Constitution. England does not have a Declaration of Independence, but England has the Magna Carta, and they're completely fucking ignoring it. They're completely ignoring it. Folks, the U.S. Constitution, our Declaration of Independence, the Federalist Papers, were all written with a philosophy that believed that men were superior to the creation that men make. How good is the vehicle compared to the mind of the human that conceived it? Right? It can only be what it is, a car. How can it be better than the person who built it? Right? So government is created and built by man. How can it be superior to the man that created it? How, right? Government is not like man. It is a monster. It is like Frankenstein. It has been given life by its creators, but it needs to be restrained because it is a monster. And as George Washington said, right, government is a fearful servant and a terrible master. Like fire, folks. Government is just those things. Let us continue. Uman, where do we want to go next? And it is Uman. And he says, reports are that many West Loop businesses plan to close during the 4 days of the Democrat National Convention. Have their staff work remotely in an effort to avoid any chaos. So I guess the West Loop business sector is in Chicago, because that's where the Democrat National Convention is going to be held. I wonder exactly how enthusiastic the participants are going to be at the Democrat National Convention. I wonder. Now, folks, more influencers, social media influencers, young men, young women with Instagram and Facebook and Twitter X, they're all being approached by the Kamala Harris campaign. That's right. Camel Ho Harris and Tampon Timmy, Twinkle Toes. They're trying to pay people to talk good things about them. And a lot of influencers are coming out revealing that they're trying to be bribed and saying, I'm not fucking supporting them. But how many people are going to be enthusiastically participating? Or will they need... Ooh, man, he hit it. You pulled, dang it, you stole my thunder, brother. He says it depends on how much artificial intelligence wants to make them appear excited. Apparently, artificial intelligence is not impressed with Kamala Harris because it is given additional eyes, mouths, fingers, and even arms and heads to its AI crowds. They look like Slog from the Goonies with half the face slid down and ears and misshapen heads. People with extended long necks. I'm not joking, folks. This AI stuff is ridiculous, and it is extremely piss poor to boot. Maybe if Kamala Harris, I guess, maybe paid someone who knows what they're doing. It is so bad that you can tell it was done intentionally to make sure that we all see it's a fucking lie. And they want to talk about Trump's lies and his exaggerations, right? Exaggerating that a crowd wants to meet Kamala at the airport. Thousands of people just thrilled to see her Indian ass. You're not allowed on a tarmac. Not since 9/11 are crowds of people allowed to run out into a flight line. That is a secured area. Good God, these fucking people. All right. And Corsair, I'm glad to see your pistol and rifle badges on your uniform, man. All right, man, where are we rolling next? He says, got to remember to artificial intelligence the folks into the reflection on the aircraft. Oh, yeah. The bottom of the fuselage as well as the engine cowling showed a reflection of the tarmac from the perspective of the cameraman. And inside that reflection, you could see a hangar and an empty tarmac, an empty flight line. There were no people in the reflection. It's a complete fabrication and lie. It's just like all the deep state politicians and politics. They're all full of shit. Unbelievable, folks. Mikey G says 1968 all over again, man. And he's talking about the Democrat National Convention in Chicago. They had the Weather Underground in Chicago, folks. Bill and Dorothy Ayers, I believe, supporters of Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro Obama. They were terrorists. They killed policemen. They bombed the police station. And I guess just a couple decades later, they're allowed to be free. No worry about getting arrested for blowing up and killing policemen. Imagine if you did such a thing like that. You think the police would allow you to live? Do you think the government wouldn't prosecute you? Hell, they're prosecuting Trump for what? For doing his job as president. They're prosecuting him and attacking him and suing him for things he's never done, for things that aren't crimes, for not even doing anything. How could it's almost hard not to defend Trump because of the absolute insanity of the Democrats. Mr. Uman, have we got another? Have we got another out there? Are we gonna? Yep, it's Chin Music. Okay, Chin Music wants to end the show on this. Please tell the class which of Trump's 20 stated policy promises are hateful. Speak up since you make the smart people sit in the back. I'll tell you one that's hateful. He wants to deport the illegal immigrants. That is hateful to Democrats because those are their allies. Those are their friends. Those are the people that they want to use to get more votes, to destroy this country. And so they consider that hateful. They can. That's all I got. That's all I got for you, Chin. That one I don't think is hateful at all. What is Trump calling for? The observance and respect of the law, the constitutional duties and requirements to protect and secure the border. So wanting to get rid of illegal immigrants is not a crime. It is not hateful. It is not even immoral, unless you are an immoral person. To them, everything is backwards. To the Democrats, a lie is the truth. To the Democrats, stealing is giving. To the Democrats, hurting a group of people is a good thing. There's going to come a time we all get to do it. We're all going to get to participate unless we pass away, right? I don't want to be, I don't want to be a part of what's coming. I just know that it's coming, and it is inescapable. That's why you need to be a prepper: food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, self-defense. Have self-defense tools. Understand hand-to-hand self-defense. You are not required to fight fair. If someone is harassing you and you're near soil, dirt, get a handful of dirt and throw it in their fucking eyes. Don't fight fair. If your life is threatened or you think you're going to suffer great bodily harm and injury, you need to defend yourself like your life depends on it, because it very well may. And do not, under any circumstances, feel it is cowardly or wrong to shout for help. At the first sign of trouble, don't wait until they're kicking the shit out of you, because most Americans will just fucking stand around and watch. Call for help instantly. Start telling people, call the police. This guy's threatening me. This gang is threatening me. Call the police. Call 911. Let people know. Meanwhile, be thinking about how to defend yourself. And if you are well prepared, you'll have a firearm on you, or a taser, or a pepper ball gun. You don't have to wait until you're on the ground bleeding out your ears, your nose, your mouth, and your eyes before you fight to protect yourself. You don't have to wait. Know your local and state laws, by the way. This is not legal advice. This is constitutional advice. I'm going to end it there for the night. I'm very pissed off. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. God bless America. Death to tyrants and communists and terrorists. Period. That's not hateful. That is not against the law. It is free speech. Death to tyrants, communists, and terrorists, because that's all they understand, and that is what they are going to do to us. Semper Fi means always faithful. God bless America. This is our republic, not your democracy.